Welcome to my channel. I want to talk about the recent interview that Shannon Sharpe did with Cat Williams on his Club Shay Shay podcast or YouTube channel or whatever you call it. But before I do that, I have to thank every single one of you that has come to my channel and watched my videos. Thank you for liking, thank you for commenting, thank you for sharing. And most of all, thank you for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if you're aware of this. A lot of you probably are. But recently, Shannon Sharpe interviewed Cat Williams on his Club Shay Shay channel. And there's a lot. It's gone viral. It's over 16 or 17 million views now, and there's been a lot of talk about it, that he basically criticized Steve Harvey and a couple other black comedians. But that's not at all what my focus is. This is a 2-hour and 45-minute interview, so if you're going to watch this whole thing, and I'll put the link in the description, be prepared to spend some time. It took me 2 days to get through the whole thing. But first of all, I've never watched a Cat Williams show. I only know Cat Williams through a couple of short clips that I've seen where he tells the joke about the new driverless cars and how if he gets pulled over, he's going to be sitting back in the back seat and he's going to look at the cop and say, "Don't look at me, I wasn't driving," which is hilarious. Not when I tell it, but when he does. But I know very little about the man. And so I have to take my hearing aids out because I'm going to use my earbuds this time to hopefully get rid of that echo. And then I'll have to do some testing to see if I can figure out how I can use my other headphones without getting that echo. So where was I? Oh, so I listened to this whole interview, and he says a lot of things, and I highly recommend you watch the whole thing because he is fascinating. He really is fascinating. But he comes across as being very honest and straightforward, and not pulling any punches. And so, and I didn't know that he was a Christian. But I want to play this clip for you because it really struck me, and I have some comments about it.
You're a very generous man, Cat. You're the sole sponsor of Melba Moore getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You did all that on your own. Why? Do you have a personal relationship with Melba?
No. I understood that she was a black woman in a time where it mattered what you look like, and they had a certain thing that they needed you to look like and act like in order to be successful.
Right.
And she just never did that. She wasn't tall enough. She wasn't fine. They didn't like her looks. They didn't like that her hair was natural. They talked crazy about her, and yet she still made all of these achievements. And I'm like, understand, I'm already in the Comedy Hall of Fame. I'm already going to heaven no matter what happens. If it ends in a second, I'm up there. So it gives me the leeway to do some things that are simply because it's the right thing to do. So the truth of the matter is, they wanted to give me a star, but
That struck such a chord with me because it's exactly how I feel in my life. I'm already going to heaven. I got nothing to worry about. God's got me. And so I can do the right thing because it really doesn't matter what people think of me. I know what God thinks of me, and that's the only thing that really matters. And it just struck me when he said this, because in my heart of hearts, I knew this guy is a real, true Christian. I don't know if he goes to church or not, but he's a Christian for sure.
Please don't consider me and this person been sitting on this list this whole time. And just because they ain't got enough money, they can't get their just due? That's crazy. When do you start? That's hurtful. What if somebody can't afford their flowers? You mean they don't get them? No, God don't operate like that. He would send a dummy like me to come and take care of that. Just so that the right thing happens. That's how the universe works. But
Yeah, I just... I can't describe it any better than he does. It's just, that's how God works. There's a verse in the Bible, I'm not quoting it, but it goes something like this: God will send the profane to confound the intelligent. It's just how God works. There's a place in the Old Testament where he talked to a man through an ass, through a donkey. That's how God works. And he clearly works in Cat Williams' life.
because remember, what am I spending my money on? I'm not spending my money on strippers. I ain't spending them on drugs.
Why not?
Like,
Stripper
what?
bar.
Because if I go in a strip club, I'm only trying to get her out of there.
Yeah.
I have no intention of her or any other people being in this position. If I see a girl I like at the strip club, I'm telling her, you know, you don't have to strip no more after this. This could be your last day. How about that?
Ooh.
What would it be like just to leave it all? You ain't gotta be a hoe no more.
I don't even want you to go get your purse. Just leave it.
Ain't nothing in
We
it.
get new ID. We get new ID and credit card and social security card.
We don't need none of that.
That.
None of that.
You could.
This life don't look good on you.
Yeah, shit.
You don't even look like a drug addict.
Got me thinking, cat.
Right. You hear these athletes talking about, yeah, we was out there tricking. What? Why? You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. Stop paying people that you don't have no respect for. It sets it up bad for us. We got women out here can't find a man because they acting like him. You are alpha. Now the alphas all want these subservient husbands. You can't have one.
No. That ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead. Boy, you done got me canceled how many times in this program? Where's the camera? I didn't write nothing I said tonight. It's all been on these cue cards, and I'm just going.
One thing that comes across in this interview is that he is hilarious. And it's things like that where you see it, where you see the brilliance of his humor. There's one other passage that I want to get to. It's towards the end of the interview, and he says something remarkable, which I was kind of surprised to hear him say it, but I know it's true, so to hear him say it didn't surprise me.
Here has been upfront and honest and a man of God and humble and took the L's he had to take and didn't.
I did see it was trending though, but I ain't know. I ain't know why, cat. I don't.
He's talking about T.D. Jakes and P. Diddy.
Let me go to this question right here. This question
All
right
people that love the truth got to be happy if the truth coming out and lies is getting exposed. That's just what time it is.
Yep. Yeah, nothing makes me happier.
2024, folks.
Are you related to Luda?
No, so there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Cat Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done a... Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people?
Yes.
It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200?
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
200 million. I might need to get me one of them old women look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my
He's referring to Kevin Hart.
own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. It's all right.
You have a lot of politics.
Never talk about it. I'm not that controversial.
Where are we go? Where are we headed, Cat?
This is sad. We've never been here before. We've never been at the point where neither option is good for us in real life.
No.
This next part was not what I wanted to play this for, but I'm going to play it for you because it's interesting. But before I do that, I want to talk about what he just said. You heard him mention the Illuminati. And they brought 2 people into the room and they gave them a choice. They had to basically bow in obeisance to these people, and then they would get lots of money. And I know people probably don't believe that's true, but trust me, it is. Satan has people in the world that he uses to flash money in front of people to buy them off. And once they're bought off, from that point forward, they will do whatever they're told to do. They're basically pawns in a game. And that's what he's saying happened with Ludacris. And, you know, it's not just Ludacris. There's plenty of people that are in that same position. They've gone to a place where they were offered a lot of money by people who don't want to be known by name. And the only thing they have to do is just make themselves subservient, and they'll be rich. And the lure of that is too much for some people, and that's what he's talking about. This next part, he talks about our government and what's going on, and it's really interesting to me because he's got a very unique insight.
This is a different conversation. This is, would you rather go back with your ex, or would you rather go back with the person before them?
Both bad options.
Both bad options. Like, one guy can barely put his sentences together, and the other guy will put sentences together from whatever he's read or whoever told him. Like,
but how did we get here? How did we get here?
All division divides. There's no way around that. All division divides.
Boy, how accurate is that?
Politics, even in the beginning when our Constitution was drawn up, the 2 parties was not what they had in mind.
No.
They always thought that it would be 2 main and another independent party. They always assumed the independent party would be just as strong as the others. A lot of that just didn't happen. And that's what I've learned more from comedy, is that Republicans laugh at the exact same thing that Democrats laugh at. As long as I'm talking to Democrats, I can make them laugh for 1 hour straight about what Republicans do. By the same token, I can go talk to Republicans for 1 whole hour and have them dying about the stuff that Democrats do. But at the end of the day, who does that? Yeah, your team got an offense and a defense. They're not supposed to be enemies. The enemy is the other side. You can't do politics like that.
Man, the inside of this guy is incredible. Basically, what he's saying is that instead of Democrats and Republicans working different sides of the field but headed towards the same goal for America to win, they're fighting against each other. For a guy who isn't into politics, he's pretty sharp. I think that's all I'm going to say. You can watch the whole show or watch parts of it. It's being talked about all over YouTube and all over the internet. Everybody's going wild and crazy about it because he basically said that Steve Harvey and, can't think of their names. Shoot. The black comedian that does Neighbors. Why am I drawing blanks on these guys? And Kevin Hart are all frauds. And they're bought out by the Illuminati. And that's the reason why they're financially successful. There's another place in here that I didn't play where he talks about his money. And he says, I have my net worth in my pocket. And he gets a big laugh out of Shannon. But basically what he's saying is that because God has got him, God's covered his life, he doesn't have to worry about finances. And I relate so much to this guy because that's exactly how my life is. You know, I'm not rich. I'm sure he has a lot more money than I do, but I'm not poor, and I don't want for anything. There's nothing that I don't have that I want, and there's nothing that I don't have that I need. And if I needed something, God would get it for me. That's how I've lived my life. That's how I believe. That's how it's worked. It's worked for me. So I really like this guy. I like him a lot. I like what he stands for, the truth, and being honest, and not being afraid to say things that people might go, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. But he said it because it's true. So I highly recommend that you listen to this interview and listen, get to know Cat Williams, and I can guarantee you that I will now be looking for his Netflix specials and looking for some of the other things that he's done so I can watch more of his comedy because he's clearly funny. There's no question about that. And he's a Christian, so he checks off the two main boxes that get me excited. So for you, my viewers, I just want you to know that I pray for you every day. I pray that you'll live an abundant life and that you'll be healthy and you'll live a long life and that God will keep you safe from harm. And I also pray that he'll do the same for every person that you love because I know how important relationships are. And finally, I also pray that you'll be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you will make your requests known to God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam Era Vet out.